Hello, Audio Marks coming to you from the Sachem Public Library. Welcome to the Marks for Life podcast with your hosts, Jimmy and CJ, two casuals turned Marks wrestling fans to give you a direct line to all things in the squared circle. Enter the ring at your own risk. We pull no punches, we hit hard, and we will slam you with all the info you need to know. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Because
it's Rusev Day.
Hello, Audio Marks. Welcome back to Marks for Life podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jimmy. I am not joined by either CJ or Joe this week. It's been a little hectic. We were all busy this week. So I'm doing a very special MiniCast for this week's predictions for Fastlane and just to do some roundup on some important news that happened this week. And just want to apologize for last week. I know that the podcast was a little bit low. We're still using the equipment, kind of, getting used to those new boards and mics and everything like that, and trying to figure out how to do it well. So I apologize if it didn't come out that great. I apologize for this one not coming out great because I'm not using any of that equipment. All I'm using is headphones with mics, and it's going to sound like I'm, in an old tiny radio station, and it sounds probably going to be terrible, and I apologize for that. If it's not, then great. If it is, I apologize again. But let's kick off to this week's news, and let's start off with what happened on Raw, because we have another clear WrestleMania match confirmed with Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle going on against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, which we all knew. The segment that was leading up to it was pretty good. Obviously, Ronda didn't have the strong talking points. It's something we expect because Ronda's not used to talking and wrestling and whatnot. But Kurt kind of pulled up for that. He gave that intensity. There was a little bit of a stare down and show off of moves with Kurt and Triple H going back and forth, and then Stephanie getting somewhat of a comeuppance with Ronda giving the great scowl. And the segment wasn't bad. This match is most likely not going to be bad, but it's what expected. It would have been cool to see someone different in Kurt Angle's spot. Not that I don't like Kurt, and I don't think CJ or Joe dislike Kurt Angle as well. It's just, we are this is a case of we saw this coming and it's happening, and a good little swerve would have been nice to see for this kind of match to bring Ronda in. But they're bringing in with some of the best people who could absolutely work with Ronda, and hopefully by that we get what this match is supposed to be about. Getting Ronda into WWE, into the whole wrestling scene, and then maybe get Stephanie into a more name recognition for regular people to know, and then hopefully spread the brand of WWE. So there's that one. We're going to move on to other WrestleMania stuff with the Bar opening and issuing an open challenge to any tag team at WrestleMania. Considering that the Raw tag team division has been crap, this is probably the best thing they could do. Now, we don't really know for sure who's going to be tackling this. It's possible that the Hardys and, the whole woken, broken gimmick could be involved in that. Jeff has been cleared. And it would be pretty cool to see the Hardys and their whole woken thing. And hopefully they'll introduce more people into that, because that would be such a marquee thing to happen. But, he's kind of dealing with Bray Wyatt with the whole Ultimate Deletion, which started filming, I think, a couple days ago at the timing of this podcast, so it'll be interesting to see. But some people have made it an appointment to respond to Sheamus on Twitter by saying, we have that date open, and that was courtesy of Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks. So we could see, maybe, even though this is definitely not going to happen, but it'd be pretty cool if it did, the Young Bucks competing for the Raw Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania. I know that they're still going through, a cease and desist letter for the Suck It and the Too Sweet and everything. But everyone here is a businessman. It would be a great business opportunity, and who knows? It's completely possible that it could happen. The Young Bucks are great entrepreneurs, and they'll see an opportunity and they'll take it. Why not? It'd be great for wrestling fans. It'd be great for the Bucks. It'd be great for the Bar. And it'd be great for WWE. I don't see a bad situation where that could be. Speaking of the Young Bucks, on the latest episode of their YouTube channel, Being the Elite, they revealed the location for their pay-per-view this coming September 1st. And it's going to be in Chicago, Illinois. Ooh. They're going to fill out a 10-seat arena, 10,000-seat arena. Ooh, that ought to be really good. It's going to be in Chicago. I believe it is going to be at the Sears Center Arena in Hoffman's Estate, which is a suburb in Chicago. It's interesting that they picked Chicago. I think they're still trying to get CM Punk roped into the whole Bullet Club situation. And if it is going to be in Chicago, between now, we're in what, March now? And September's a long way away. Who knows what could happen? I mean, it's completely possible that he'll either just show up for that mark moment that, God, we were hoping for CM Punk, or it'll be like the official turning point, like, I'm done with UFC, I'm coming back into wrestling, and I'm going to be in the Bullet Club with the Bucks. And that whole dynamic, especially with Cody and Kenny feuding for leadership, and then you also have Tama Tonga also kind of vying for leadership. Throwing CM Punk in there is going to be one hell of a messy ride. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Let's kick off to something outside of those things. Let's move on to NXT. They introduced a new championship that's going to be happening, hopefully. Sorry, hold on, guys. That's going to be, the match is going to be NXT TakeOver New Orleans. It's called the NXT North American Championship. And there's already people who William Regal has revealed to be a part of that match. We have EC3, Ricochet, Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Killian Dane, and Lars Sullivan in a 6-pack challenge for the title. Wow. I think that bringing a regional title like this is kind of cool. It's really going to separate the whole brand similarity between them and WWE. WWE having the U.S. Championship and NXT having the North American one. And kind of bringing these, like, regional titles to fruition, I think is more interesting than having, like, a world one and then a separate division based on, like, a weight class or anything like that. These regional ones, I think, could be a little bit more interesting. And hopefully the matches will be good for that. In other news, we got some Hall of Fame news. They've just announced this past Monday that Hillbilly Jim, good old Hillbilly Jim, will be in the 2018 Hall of Fame class. This is nothing on Hillbilly Jim. I think Hillbilly Jim is a fun character. It's more this class entirely, like Goldberg and the Dudleys are like the only real ones that quote unquote deserve it. I mean, you could make a case for Ivory. You could make a case for Jeff Jarrett, maybe. You can make a case for who else is on the Fame other than those two? No, I think it's just those two, and then the Warrior Recipient Award, who, I mean, they're always going to pick someone like that, and it's cool that they're doing that, but I don't remember the Warrior Award being specifically designated to cancer survivors. I'm pretty sure Warrior wanted it to be for backstage people, but, I mean, that's here nor there. What I find interesting about Hillbilly Jim is that, he had no real significant matches. Yeah, he had a really good WrestleMania 3 match. He was a great house show babyface, but other than that, I mean, there was really nothing about Hillbilly Jim that really stuck out to, I think, anybody. I don't think anybody really thought Hillbilly Jim is really Hall of Fame material. I mean, again, this is a pretend Hall of Fame. There's not a real one. But, I mean, WWE gets to do whatever they want, and they want to bring in Hillbilly Jim. That'd be pretty cool. I wouldn't mind. I think he's great. So, I mean, in other news, before I kick it off to predictions for this Fastlane, it seems that NXT has released Abby Laith. I'm pretty sad about that. I liked Abby Laith. I think Abby Laith was a great woman in the Women's Classic. She had a great match against I forgot her opponent. It was like the tall woman with like the mohawk, and she looked really scary. Scary Woman is what I'm just gonna call her at this point. She had a match with Scary Woman, and it was fantastic. And I was hoping Abby Laith would go far, but she didn't. But Abby Laith was great, and I hope that in the future she has great opportunities and good fortunes going forward. So right now I'm going to kick it off to a break before I go into predictions. Alright guys, and I'm back. This prediction's a little bit different than the other ones, considering I don't have anybody to talk to about these, so I'm just going to run down the card, I suppose. There was 2 matches that were just added very last minute. Nakamura versus Rusev, and the team of Naomi and Becky Lynch against Natalya and Carmella. And the other matches include Bobby Roode and Randy Orton for the U.S. Championship. The Usos versus the New Day for the Tag Team Championships. Charlotte versus Ruby Riott. And then the 6-Pack Challenge with AJ Styles facing John Cena, facing Dolph Ziggler, facing Baron Corbin, facing Sami Zayn, facing Kevin Owens. Oh boy. Oh boy. Anyway, let's kick it off from the bottom to the top. So, Carmella and Natalya versus Becky and Naomi. All 3 of us, CJ and Joe, because they gave me their predictions before I'm recording this podcast. We all picked Becky Lynch and Naomi for this match. So, yeah. If anything, this is just a filler match. There's nothing truly significant about it. Maybe it'll bring a spotlight onto Carmella. Maybe Carmella will betray Natalya. I mean, I honestly don't know what this match could entail, but it'll be interesting. Then you have Nakamura versus Rusev. And I hate saying this so much because I love Rusev. Rusev Day all day. But they got to keep Nakamura strong to face AJ Styles for the title. So Nakamura is going to win that match. And hopefully, and I'm praying to God that we get Rusev Day in the championship arena sometime post-Mania. Otherwise, this whole Rusev Day would have been absolutely a waste of time. And it's really sad because it's being marketed. It's great. And I can't wait to get my Rusev Day calendar and my Rusev Day t-shirt and my Rusev Day mug. I just got to get more money from my job. So, yeah. The next match, Bobby Roode versus Randy Orton. We all picked Roode. We don't really see why Randy's going to pick that spot. So it'll be interesting. For the tag team, me and CJ both picked the Usos. And Joe's the only one that picked the New Day. I don't know why Joe would pick the New Day, other than the fact that Bludgeon Brothers are going to be coming in. They're probably going to be the WrestleMania ones. And if the New Day doesn't pick gets a WrestleMania match, and they're like one of the hot tickets for merchandise sales, I mean, so I get what Joe was saying in that, but I guess that's what that Raw Tag Team Invitational is for, because then that gives the New Day a reason to go back to Raw. So me and CJ picked Usos, Joe picked New Day. Moving on to the women's match, we all picked Charlotte. It's just going to keep her strong, so then when Asuka comes over to SmackDown or to Fastlane to challenge Charlotte for that title, it's going to be Charlotte versus Asuka at Mania. I mean, there's no question about it. Then we have the 6-Pack Challenge, and it's clearly got to be Styles. As much as, that whole thing Cena said during SmackDown where he was going to challenge, where he was going to win, and then he wants AJ to cash it in his rematch clause at Mania and make it a triple threat, it would not be good. It'd be much better if it was Styles versus Nakamura, obviously. And then I have no idea what it's going to lead Cena. I have no idea where it's going to lead Baron. I have no idea where it's going to lead to Dolph, to Sammy, or for Kevin. I mean, it's SmackDown, it's gotten bad. It's gotten really bad, and I don't know what they're doing. I feel like this is really just a filler just so they could get to Mania, because that's where the real storytelling is going to be done. And to me, it just seems very disingenuous. SmackDown, during the brand split from, back, up until, last summer was probably the best of SmackDown, and now it's just shit, utter complete shit. This pay-per-view is probably not going to be good. Hopefully I get some points on the board so I can win my title. that we vacated after Royal Rumble, but we'll see what happens. But that's the podcast, guys. Always remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on all multiple channels. If you please head over to Patreon and donate $1 to keep the podcast going, that'd be much appreciated. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, everyone, for staying tuned to our podcast. Special shout out to the Sachem Public Library for the continued use of their equipment and space. Continue supporting us by rating and subscribing through Patreon, Audio Boom, Stitcher, TuneIn, Castbox, Radio Public, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play Music, and Apple Podcasts at Marks for Life Podcast. And now, check out our YouTube channel, Marks for Life, for our podcast playlist and other content. Please follow us on our social media on Twitter at Marks for Life Pod, Instagram at Marks for Life Podcast, our Tumblr page, Marks for Life Podcast, and our Facebook page, Marks for Life Podcast. And email us at marksforlifepodcast@gmail.com for any questions, comments, or feedback. Until next time, Audio Marks.